My wife blocked my number for a Miami trip. I gathered receipts, uncovered her double life, and eventually won the house and a restraining order in divorce court. "I'm blocking your number while I'm away," she said, before I could even react. Arms crossed, like she was establishing a rule. "Girls' trips are none of your concern, and I need total privacy with my friends." I put down my razor and turned toward her. "Let me make sure I heard correctly. You're telling me you're going to Miami and you plan to block your husband for the entire weekend?" "Yes. You always message me constantly when I'm out, asking what I'm doing, where I am. It's controlling, and I'm not dealing with it anymore." "Controlling? For wanting to know where my wife is during a weekend in one of the busiest party cities in the country? So now checking in with my wife makes me controlling?" I asked calmly. "Since when did basic communication become a flaw?" This is what healthy marriages look like. Partners need space and independence. Healthy marriages also don't include blocking spouses and disappearing to Miami. But I kept that thought to myself. And you decided this on your own. No discussion, just an announcement that you're cutting off all contact while you're in Miami for 5 days. She shifted slightly. "It's not partying. It's just relaxing and spending time with the girls." "Right. Because Miami is known for being quiet and peaceful. Don't be sarcastic. The girls and I have planned this for weeks. We're staying at a great resort, going to South Beach, maybe doing some shopping. It's going to be relaxing. No boyfriends, no husbands, no drama." The way she emphasized "no boyfriends" stood out, almost like she was trying to reassure me, or herself. "When do you leave?" I asked. "Thursday morning. I'll be back Tuesday evening." And I meant what I said about the blocking. Don't try calling from work or through your friends. I'll know, and I'll be furious. "Furious?" I repeated. "Because your husband tried to reach you during a 5-day trip to Miami?" You're making this sound worse than it is. Am I? From where I stand, my wife just announced she's heading to the party capital of the East Coast and plans to cut off contact for 5 days. How exactly should that sound? "You're being paranoid," she said, rolling her eyes. "A girl's trip to Miami with zero communication, apparently totally normal." That evening, she spent hours packing, trying on outfits, and asking for my opinion on different dresses and swimwear. For someone insisting on complete privacy, she seemed unusually interested in my thoughts on her wardrobe. "What about this one?" she asked, holding a dress I'd never seen. All clearly chosen to stand out. Wednesday night, she listed her usual instructions along with a new one. "And remember, no contact until Tuesday evening. I'm completely serious." "Crystal clear," I said. "Total silence while you're in Miami for 5 days." Thursday morning, she was up early, checking her appearance repeatedly and calling an Uber. I offered to drive her, but she refused quickly. "The girls are meeting at the airport. It's easier." I walked her to the door. "Have fun in Miami. Remember what we talked about," she said firmly. "No contact. This is important to me." "Don't worry," I replied calmly. "I'll respect your privacy. In fact, I'll give you more privacy than you expect." She seemed satisfied and left. As the Uber drove away, the whole situation felt off. A communication blackout, new clothes, secretive planning. It didn't match her usual behavior. If she wanted privacy, she was about to have more than she imagined. While she enjoyed her 5 days of relaxation, I planned to make a few crucial phone calls. She had made the mistake of assuming I'd believe her story. A 5-day Miami girls trip with no communication. Time to give her the privacy she wanted. With the house to myself, I had time to think. Her dramatic departure replayed in my mind, not for the reasons she expected. I started with something simple. Instagram. No story yet. She was probably traveling. Then I checked her friends' accounts. Her best friend posted a gym selfie near our home, time-stamped 2 hours earlier. Strange for someone supposedly flying to Miami. Another friend posted a coffee photo from downtown, also recent, also not Miami. Either they were all posting old photos or something didn't match. I opened our joint credit card account. She'd booked the trip weeks ago, so the charges should show a group booking. There was a flight to Miami, only one ticket. I kept scrolling. Uber to the airport, normal. But then charges from last week. $200 at Victoria's Secret, $300 at Nordstrom, $150 at a salon. She usually mentioned purchases like that. Then a high-end restaurant 2 weeks ago, a place known for romantic dinners. My phone buzzed. A message from Jake, who works at the airport. "Hey man, saw your wife at gate B12. Looked like she was alone." So no girls, trip. Just her, Miami, and a planned lie. I spent the day thinking about her recent late nights with the girls, new clothes, and secretive phone habits. Then I drove to see my sister-in-law. My wife's younger sister was always honest. "She didn't tell me about any Miami trip," she said. "Are you sure that's where she went? And communication blackout? That's not like her." Exactly, none of it matched her normal behavior. I made a decision. I called a private investigator. Not to spy, but to understand what was really bad. "I need details about a trip to Miami," I told him. "My wife is there for 5 days. She says it's a girls' trip, but something isn't right." "How much do you want to know?" he asked. "Everything." When the first report came in, things became clear. She was staying at a high-end resort, but the room was booked for 2 people, reserved under a man's name I didn't recognize. The investigator had discreet photos. My wife by the pool, but not alone. She was with a man, and they looked comfortable, very comfortable. This didn't look like simple infidelity. It looked like an entirely separate life. More information followed. Financial records showed the man had been paying for much of her recent lifestyle. Expensive dinners, shopping, even part of the Miami trip. She wasn't just lying about her location. She was being financially supported by someone else while living with me, spending my money, pretending to be a committed wife. Her demand for privacy made perfect sense. She needed me out of the way to maintain her second life. On Monday evening, the investigator sent the final report. Photos, receipts, financial records, all organized clearly. I sat at the kitchen table, looking at evidence of my wife's double life. Not straightforward cheating, something worse. She was acting as someone else's partner while using me as her financial backup. I made 2 calls, first to a divorce attorney, then to a professional service. "I need someone to meet my wife at the airport tonight," I said. "Someone who can deliver legal papers professionally and discreetly." By Tuesday afternoon, everything was in place. The documents were ready, the process server was informed, and I was prepared to give my wife exactly what she had insisted on. Privacy. Complete, lasting privacy from her husband. If she wanted to live a double life, she could do it as a single woman. Tuesday evening came with the clarity I'd been waiting for. My wife was scheduled to land at 7:30 p.m., expecting her usual compliant husband to pick her up as if nothing had happened, as if she hadn't just spent 5 days living a completely different life. The divorce attorney I'd contacted on Monday night called me back at 8 a.m. sharp. "Based on what you've told me, we have a strong case," he said. "The financial deception alone gives us significant leverage. When do you want to proceed?" "Today. I want the papers served tonight when she lands." "That's fast, but possible. We'll need to act quickly." By 10 a.m., I was in his office, signing paperwork and planning how this would play out. The advantage of having the investigator's report was that everything was already documented. No more he said, she said, just clear evidence. The financial piece is especially damaging, the attorney explained. She's effectively defrauding the marriage by accepting financial support from another man, while presenting herself as a committed spouse. Fraud. That was exactly what it felt like. "How do you want to handle the service?" he asked. "She expects me to pick her up at the airport. Instead, she'll find you there with the papers. I want her to understand immediately that her demand for privacy has real, permanent consequences." The attorney nodded. "I like your approach. Most people in your position spend weeks going back and forth. You've resolved this in 4 days. 4 days. That's all it took to expose years of lies and build an entirely new future. That afternoon, I focused on practical matters. I changed the locks on the house, moved joint accounts into my name where legally allowed, and documented every shared asset. If she wanted to live a second life, she could fund it herself. Around 3 p.m., my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown Miami number. "Baby, can't wait to see you tonight. This trip has been amazing. I've missed you so much." Presenting herself as a committed spouse. Fraud. That was exactly what it felt like. "How do you want to handle the service?" he asked. "She expects me to pick her up at the airport. Instead, she'll find you there with the papers. I want her to understand immediately that her demand for privacy has real, permanent consequences." The attorney nodded. "I like your approach. Most people in your position spend weeks going back and forth. You've resolved this in 4 days. 4 days. That's all it took to expose years of lies and build an entirely new future." That afternoon, I focused on practical matters. I changed the locks on the house, moved joint accounts into my name where legally allowed, and documented every shared asset. If she wanted to live a second life, she could fund it herself. Around 3 p.m., my phone buzzed with a message from an unknown Miami number. "Baby, can't wait to see you tonight. This trip has been amazing. I've missed you so much." She'd sent it to the wrong person, me instead of her boyfriend. I took a screenshot and forwarded it to my attorney. "More evidence for the file," I wrote. The irony was clear. Her obsession with secrecy had made her careless. The very thing she tried to hide had become a key piece of proof. At 4 p.m., another text arrived, this time to my number directly. "Landing at 7:30. See you at baggage claim like always. Can't wait to tell you about the trip." Can't wait to tell me about the trip. The same trip that was supposedly none of my business, the trip I wasn't allowed to contact her during. I replied, "Looking forward to hearing all about it. You'll have quite an audience." She responded with a heart emoji, fitting in its own way. By 6 p.m., everything was ready. The attorney was on his way to the airport with the process server and the full legal packet. I stayed at home, calmer than I'd felt in days. At 6:45, my phone rang, an unknown number. "This is the process server. I'm at baggage claim B. Your attorney is here with the documents. We'll approach her as soon as she arrives." Perfect. Her flight should be landing soon. I hung up and poured myself a whiskey, not to celebrate, but to mark the end of one stage of life and the start of another. At 7:25, another update came in by text. "Flight landed. Passengers are coming down now. Should be any minute." I could picture it. My wife, probably messaging her boyfriend about how she'd managed 5 days away without her husband catching on. Walking toward baggage claim, expecting to see me waiting, like always. Instead, she'd be greeted by two professionals in suits holding legal documents, a different kind of welcome home. At 7:40, my phone rang again. "Papers served," the attorney said. "She's not handling it well." "I'm not surprised. How bad is it?" "Let's just say airport security is watching closely. She's demanding to call you, insisting it's all a misunderstanding." "A misunderstanding, right. She'll likely try to contact you," he added. "I won't be responding. Block my number, show up at the house? Whatever she tries, I'm not engaging." "Understood. We've told her all communication must go through our office from now on." I ended the call and leaned back. It was done. 5 days of privacy had turned into a lifetime of it. My phone immediately started ringing, call after call from her number. I ignored every one. Then the messages arrived. "What is this? Call me right now." "This is insane. I can explain everything." "You can't do this to me." I turned my phone off. She wanted privacy. Now she had complete, lasting privacy from her husband. The house felt different. Not empty, clear. Like something that had been polluting the atmosphere was finally gone. Tomorrow would bring new issues to handle, but tonight was my own. The first night of a new life without lies and without someone who believed privacy meant living as two different people. She had bet everything on me being naive and lost completely. Morning brought a new normal. My phone showed 47 missed calls and over 60 text messages. I sipped my coffee while scrolling through them, watching her shift from anger to panic to manipulation. "You're making a huge mistake. I can explain if you just call. Please, we can fix this. You don't understand what you're doing to us. I'm staying at a hotel downtown. At least let me get my clothes." The last message, sent at 2:30 a.m., read, "Fine, if you want to throw away our marriage over nothing, that. Nothing." To her, 5 days of lies, financial betrayal, and staying with another man was nothing. I forwarded the entire conversation to my attorney and continued my morning routine. First day of freedom, and I intended to enjoy it. Around noon, the doorbell rang. I checked the peephole. My wife stood there with 2 suitcases, exhausted and upset. I didn't open the door. She started pounding. "I know you're in there. Open this door right now." I opened an upstairs window instead. "All communication goes through my attorney. You know that." "Stop being ridiculous. I live here too." "Not anymore. Check your paperwork. You were served with a temporary restraining order along with the divorce petition. You're not allowed within 100 feet of this property." Her expression changed quickly. She clearly hadn't read everything carefully. "You can't do this to me. This is my house too." "It was your house. Past tense. You chose when you decided your privacy mattered." She pulled out her phone and started calling someone, likely her boyfriend, upset that things had gone wrong. About 10 minutes later, a police car pulled up. 2 officers got out, spoke with her, and reviewed the restraining order. After a few minutes, they escorted her away from the property. One of the officers rang my doorbell. "Sir, she's been informed of the legal restrictions. If she returns, contact us immediately." "Thank you, officer." That afternoon, my attorney called with an update. Her lawyer reached out. They want to discuss terms. "What kind of terms?" She claims the relationship in Miami was platonic. She says he's just a friend supporting her during a difficult time in the marriage. She wants to come back home and try to repair things. I actually laughed. "Did you show them the photos?" "Yes." Their argument now is that the images are misleading and that nothing inappropriate happened. And the financial records showing he's paying for H. They're describing those as generous gifts from a concerned friend who thought she was unhappy. The explanation was creative, but expected. Tell them I have more evidence they haven't seen yet. The investigator was thorough. What else do you have? He asked. Hotel room service charges for champagne and romantic dinners, couple spa packages, activities booked for 2 for the entire week, and the text she accidentally sent me yesterday calling someone baby and saying she missed him. There was a pause on the line. That's extensive. It gets worse. I also have phone records showing months of late-night calls to the same number, credit card statements with charges at romantic restaurants in our city, places I never visited. This wasn't a quick trip or some weekend mistake. It was an ongoing affair she was supporting with our marital funds. She really assumed I wouldn't notice. Then came a new strategy from her legal team. My attorney called early that morning. They were shifting to emotional manipulation. She wanted to meet with me directly, no lawyers, to explain her side. I refused. My lawyer told them that, but they kept pushing, saying I was being unreasonable and not giving her a chance to save the marriage. She had 5 days in Miami to fix the marriage. She made her choice. There was more. They requested an emergency hearing to challenge the restraining order and get her temporarily back into the house. Expected. Desperate people take desperate actions. When's the hearing? I asked. Tomorrow morning. Judge Martinez. Fair, but strict. Our evidence should speak for itself. Good. I wanted this over. Later that day, I got a call from an unknown number. Don't hang up, please, my wife's voice said. I borrowed someone's phone. I hung up immediately and blocked it. 5 minutes later, another unknown number. Just listen for 2 minutes. Blocked again. Then came the texts from random numbers. You're destroying everything we built. I made a mistake, but we can fix this. You're being cruel and vindictive. I just needed space to think. Space to think? 5 days in Miami with another man was her definition of space. I forwarded everything to my attorney. Evidence of harassment and violation of the no-contact order. The morning of the court hearing arrived. I dressed professionally and drove downtown, ready for whatever emotional performance. My attorney met me outside. She's here with her lawyer and about 6 family members. They're going for full sympathy. Let them. Facts override feelings. Inside the courtroom, I spotted her instantly. Dressed conservatively, minimal makeup, perfectly playing the role of the hurt spouse. That changed once the judge reviewed the evidence. Hotel receipts, photos, financial statements, phone logs, messages, everything laid out in order, showing a deliberate pattern. Her attorney tried to frame it as a woman seeking emotional comfort during a difficult marriage, but Judge Martinez wasn't convinced. This looks like systematic financial fraud, he said. The petitioner has provided substantial evidence of deception and misuse of marital assets. My wife's face collapsed. Her family looked stunned, clearly hearing much of this for the first time. The restraining order stands, the judge ruled. Respondent may not contact the petitioner or return to the marital home. Game over. As we left the courthouse, I heard her crying behind us while her family demanded answers. My attorney walked me to my car. That went as clean as it can. She did this to herself. She wanted privacy, I said. Now she has it. The drive home didn't feel like a victory for me. It felt like a victory for the truth. Sometimes that's the same thing. I thought the chaos was done. Her lawyer was handling communication professionally. Then my routine was settling. Then Saturday morning arrived. I was having coffee on my patio when I heard multiple voices in my front yard. When I walked around, I saw my wife standing on the sidewalk with her mother, sister, and two people I didn't know. They were obviously preparing some kind of intervention. "There he is," her mother yelled. "The man who abandoned his wife over a simple misunderstanding." I stayed calm, phone in hand, ready to call the police if they stepped onto my property. "You're welcome to stay on the public sidewalk," I said, "but we're not having this conversation." My wife stepped forward, already crying, clearly practiced. "Please, just give me 5 minutes. Everyone deserves a chance to explain." "You had 5 days in Miami. How did that explanation go?" Her sister jumped in. "She made a mistake. People make mistakes. You're supposed to forgive." "Which mistake?" I asked. "Lying about where she went? Blocking my number? The secret boyfriend? Or using marital money to fund her second life?" "It wasn't like that," my wife cried. "You're twisting everything." "Really? Because the hotel receipts tell a different story." Her mother stepped forward angrily. "Marriage is about forgiveness. You took vows. So did she. How did that work out?" One of the strangers, apparently a cousin, tried a calmer approach. "Look, man to man, she messed up, but ending a marriage over one bad decision seems harsh." One bad decision. I laughed. This was months of lies. She planned the trip, bought clothes, arranged finances, and blocked me to hide everything. That's not one decision. That's a lifestyle. My wife sobbed harder, but she wasn't denying anything specific, just hoping emotion would override reality. "I was confused," she said. "I didn't know what I wanted. I needed space." "Is that what we're calling 5 days with another man?" Her sister grew aggressive. "You're being cruel. Can't you see she's sorry? Sorry she got caught. That's different." I looked straight at my wife. "You want to explain? Start with why you thought blocking your husband while living with another man was okay. It wasn't like that. Explain why you used our cards to buy lingerie for your Miami trip. You don't understand. Explain the text you sent me by accident. Calling another man baby and saying you miss him." She turned pale. Her family looked confused. They clearly didn't know that Pa. "Explain why your girl's trip had only one ticket and a hotel room for 2 under another man's name." Silence. Long, heavy silence. I can't," she whispered. "Exactly, because the truth is obvious. You lived a double life and got sloppy." Her cousin tried again. "All right, she messed up, but you're her husband. Don't you want to fix this?" "Fix what? The lying? The cheating? The stealing? Or just the fact that she got exposed?" My wife looked at me desperately. "I'll do anything, counseling, therapy. Just give me another chance." "You had chances every single day. Every night you pretended everything was normal. Every morning you woke up knowing you weren't being honest." "People change," her mother yelled. "She did change, from someone I trusted into someone I can't. And that doesn't reverse." My wife stepped closer, voice breaking. "What about our good times? What about what we built?" "I built a marriage. You built a lie. Those aren't the same." "So that's it? You're throwing everything away?" I stared at her. This woman who planned trips with another man while sharing my bed, who blocked me so she could play house with someone else. "I'm not throwing anything away. You did that when you boarded that plane." "But I came back. I chose you." "No, you came back because this was your safety net. You chose security, not me." Her family realized their intervention wasn't working. "Fine," her sister said. "Be stubborn. But don't regret it later." I know exactly what I lost. A wife who thought I was too stupid to see the truth. And I know exactly what I gained. My self-respect. My wife made one final attempt. "I love you. Doesn't that matter? You loved the life I provided, not me. If you loved me, you wouldn't have needed to block my number to be happy. She had no answer. The divorce is filed. All communication goes through the lawyers. This conversation is finished. I walked back toward the house. "This isn't over," her mother shouted. I turned briefly. Yes, it is. She wanted privacy from her husband, and now she has it. Inside, I could hear them arguing on the sidewalk, trying to figure out what went wrong. The truth was simple. You can't manipulate someone who knows the facts. My wife made her choice long before Miami. She chose secrecy, excitement, and another man. And now she faced the consequences of her decisions, just like I faced mine. The divorce was finalized. My ex-wife used every tactic: tears, threats, pressure, even showing up at my job. None of it worked because I documented everything. The settlement was devastating for her. The judge ruled her financial deception was fraud, voiding her claim to half the assets. She left with her personal belongings and a painful reminder of consequences. The day after the final decree, she sent one last text. "I hope you're happy now." I was. Not because I hurt someone, but because I refused to let someone hurt me. Later, I ran into her at a grocery store. She looked older, worn out. She approached carefully. "How are you doing?" she asked. "Great, you?" "I'm managing, staying with my sister." I nodded, without sympathy. She made her choices. "I want you to know I'm sorry," she said. "Not just sorry I was caught, truly sorry." "Okay. Do you think someday we could talk as friends?" I looked at her. This woman who blocked her own husband, spent marital money living a secret life, lied for months. Privacy, remember? You showed me how important that is. Her face dropped as she understood. "I hope you find what you're searching for," I said, walking away. Driving home, I thought about everything. She wanted privacy from her husband, assuming I'd accept being treated like a fool. She was wrong. Some people learn the hard way that actions have consequences. She learned it when she found divorce papers instead of her safe husband. She wanted freedom without accountability, but accountability caught up. Now I have a new life built on truth and self-respect. My ex-wife got exactly what she asked for: permanent privacy. She just didn't expect it to come with permanent consequences. Respect can't be demanded or manipulated. You either earn it or lose it. She chose to lose it. I chose to keep mine.